Welcome to my podcast. I'm Reagan Bashara, founder of Ollie's Accounting, a bookkeeping and payroll services firm based in the United States. I have almost a decade of small business accounting expertise to share with my clients and the business community at large. I want to help you define your beliefs and values, create better procedures in line with those values, and realize your financial agency and independence as a small business owner. Whether you've got a side hustle or a fully fledged business with a team of employees, we all share the same struggles against our limiting beliefs. Let's overcome those together by imagining new ways of doing business. Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode of Money Through Ease. I'm Reagan Bashara, your host and founder of Ollie's Accounting, and I'm going to talk to you today about when things are scary and what to do when they're scary. I deal with a lot of anxiety in my life, and that is true for my business life and for when I worked for somebody else. It was always the case that I was afraid that somebody was upset with me about something, and I've done so much work on being okay with the fact that other people might be upset with me or that they for sure are upset with me, and just like learning how to manage my emotional response to that, because that was really getting in the way of me like even doing work. And it got in the way of me starting my own business for a long time, which I obviously overcame. And then it also got in the way of me starting a podcast. Yet here I am producing episodes and releasing them every week, no matter what. I've overcome a lot of this anxiety for myself in my business and in my personal life. And I just wanted to talk to you today about what to do when things are scary as a business owner. So a lot of people go into business because they imagine that it's going to be some perfect scenario where they're their own boss. They get to make their own decisions. They have the capacity to take that responsibility on. They have the capacity to take care of everything in their business. They'll be making more money because they're working for themselves. Nobody is dictating what they're going to make, right, in terms of money. Like, they dictate what they get paid. They set their own prices. And so they get to have control over, that aspect of their life, how much money they're making. But I want to remind you that there's still other people involved, right? There are still customers, there's still clients that you have, they're paying you. There's vendors that you have a relationship with that you pay. Just because you don't have a boss managing you doesn't mean that there aren't things that are still outside of your control. But just because things are within our control doesn't mean that we always make the best decisions or have all the information handy to make good decisions for ourselves. A lot of people say that they wouldn't even know where to start when they want to start a business. They don't know how to run a business because it's not something that a lot of people are taught. The same way that they teach home economics in school, how to take care of your home, a lot of people don't even pay attention to that, or they straight up didn't have that education at all. And that's okay. Even if you go to business school, there's still a gap between learning something from a book, like how to do accounting, or learning how to manage a business from a book. And then the gap between that and the real life application of principles that you learned in running a business. And then a lot of people just jump into it and figure it out as they go along. I think that there's this metaphor or analogy that a lot of people sometimes use, and it's that you go skydiving and you jump out of a plane and you build your parachute on the way down. That's kind of like what starting a business or being an entrepreneur is like. And that's kind of a violent and scary imagery, but it's sometimes how it is. Like, you just figure it out as you go along, and it's literally like a life or death survival situation. Some people start a business out of necessity. They need to make more money, and then they just start a business, or they start making a product to sell, or they provide a service and freelance, and they make money, and then they just tweak it along the way, right? What works in the business and what doesn't. Stop doing things that aren't working, modify things, and if something works, keep repeating it over and over again. Neither way is better than the other, having like a whole business plan that you've consulted with people on versus just figuring out as you go along. And it's just, they're just different ways of doing things. And I get this question a lot is how to pay yourself as a business owner. And I've done an entire podcast episode on that, and you can look back in the feed and see that it's called like how to pay yourself as the business owner. And it's exactly that. I'm going over how do you pay yourself as a business owner? What are the methods of calculating your owner's pay? How does that impact your taxes? I want you to go back and listen to that episode if you're wondering the how. And, I explain it all to you there and give you some ideas about how to do that, when to do it, how that impacts your personal taxes, etc. So I had this funny idea for a meme, and it came when I was watching this year's Super Bowl and Rihanna's halftime performance. I made the meme and I posted it on social media, so you can go look at either my Facebook or my Instagram account if you'd like to see that meme. But when Rihanna first came on, the first song that she did was Bitch Better Have My Money. And it made me think about being a business owner. It's either you're thinking, I need to draw some money out of my business account in order to pay my personal bills this week, or I need money for a vacation, so I'm going to draw that out of my account. As a business owner, you're looking yourself in the mirror and saying, bitch, better have my money. I'm in business to make money. I want to make more money. I want to grow my business, and I want to have more money to take home for my personal expenses in my life. Maybe you've got a family and you started a business because you wanted to create a better, more accessible life for your family, or you wanted to start a college education fund for your kids. And that's awesome. But as a business owner, nobody's coming around to check that you paid yourself this week. When you're working in your business, oftentimes paying yourself is the last thing on your mind. I hear a lot of business owners say, everybody gets paid first before I do. And that's just how it is. When you need money for something in your personal life that's not related to your business expenses, you have to look in the mirror and go, bitch, you better have my money. So when I was watching that Super Bowl halftime performance, that's what I was thinking about. Pay me what you owe me. That's how the lyrics go. And I want to share a story about something that's happening to me right now. One of my cats is under our house. So we live on a pier and beam house, which means that we don't have a slab foundation, and there's a crawl space under the house, between our bottom floor and the ground. We were away this weekend and somebody was pet sitting for us, and one of the cats made it his mission to get out of the house. So he's under the house right now. We know he's under there because we see him running into the hole that goes under the house. So he's in this feral cat mode in his mind. He is not responding to us. He thinks that we're a threat. He's in that flight mode, right? The second that he steps a paw out of the door, he just turns into this feral lizard brain cat. We're trying to coax him out with food, the sound of our voices, and he's done this before with other pet sitters. This is not our first rodeo, but I am worried about him. Now, he's sheltered under the house and he'll be okay, but I know he's hungry. And he does have all of his claws, but he doesn't go hunting because he's right now in fear mode. He's just taking shelter under the house. His mind has completely blocked out that we're his family and that we take care of him and we feed him and that he's safe with us. He's in survival mode. So I've got a live trap from TNR, which is Trap Neuter Release, a program in our area that's helping to reduce the feral cat population. And I've put some tuna in it, which is his absolute favorite food. And the funny thing is, I went outside and used the can opener to open the can of tuna, and he didn't even come out for that. And that is his favorite thing. That is definitely a Pavlovian response. If he hears the can opener, even if it's not a can of tuna, he's coming running. So I'm checking the trap every 30 minutes to see whether he's going to come. This makes me think about our innate response to what we perceive as a threat or danger in our businesses. And I'm just going to draw this analogy between my stupid cat and my business, or being a business owner in general, because I think it's funny. When we perceive something that's dangerous to us, we go into that fight, flight, or freeze fawn response. And if you're somebody that's a flight response person, like my cat, you're seeing everything as a threat. You won't see opportunities, clients, new clients, or the ways that you can make more money in your business when you're seeing things as a threat. You won't see that you're safe from harm, that you're already supported, and that you have what you need right in this moment. If you perceive something as a threat, your brain goes into survival mode. As business owners, we can really close ourselves off to opportunity and react in ways that we don't like after the fact. As a business owner, the buck stops with you, right? You're responsible for making sure the bills get paid. You're responsible for making sure that the business is making money. You're responsible for not only the business, but drawing money out of the business to pay your personal expenses. You might be managing other people on top of that if you've got employees. You might be managing your clients and customers, and whenever they're having a moment and they're freaking out and they're angry with you about something, as a business owner, that can put you straight into survival mode. All of this can be turned into a threat. And when we see something as a threat, it activates that fight, flight, or freeze fawn response in us. We believe that we're in danger and that we need to get to safety. And from that place, we're not showing up to our lives and our businesses in a way that's healthy or that's going to create good in the world. You're not in a place of creativity when you're in the fight, flight, or freeze response. You're actually blocking that creativity. You might be fighting it, you might be running from it, and you might be avoiding things. I'm a big avoider. Any type of conflict, my natural inclination is to avoid everything. And so when we're avoiding, when we're hiding, when we're running away, when we're being defensive or confrontational, when we're in that fight mode, we don't create success in our business. I want you to know that it's normal to have that response whenever you think something's gone wrong. If you think that client hasn't paid their invoice yet, or they haven't responded to my email in a week, you start to create this whole narrative about whatever is going on. And that narrative is threatening because we make it mean something about our survival. Our brain is always looking for ways that something might be wrong. It might be a danger to our survival. We look for what could be going wrong because it might be an existential threat, and that's okay. It's so normal to have that response, I promise. But we have to get out of that phase if we want to create and be successful. So what would you want to create in your business rather than a persistent existential threat? Maybe it's relaxation. Maybe it's a feeling of security or comfort. Maybe you want to create motivation or a space for creativity to flow. I want you to know that that existential feeling is temporary in that moment. What we want to do is create some distance from that panicked, mortal survival, endangered feeling. And once we create some space there, we can recognize that we're not actually in mortal danger. Somebody being upset with you about work that you did, somebody not paying their invoice, somebody not responding to your emails, your bank account being overdrafted, all of those things are not mortal peril. They're not actually a threat, even though we respond to it that way. All of those things are temporary. So we can create a little bit of space between I'm in mortal danger and our survival is at stake to this is an upsetting situation right now, or maybe this is triggering something in me that I need to work on, or that person being upset with me isn't a threat to my existence. It gives us the breathing room to come down from that fight, flight, or freeze response. It allows us to take a breath and to find some relaxation in the moment. When we create space from our existential crises, that's where we have time and energy for movement, creativity, planning, and doing our actual work. You cannot do any of these things if you're in survival mode and feeling that your existence is being threatened. I want you to think about the triggers in your business that produce that anxiety, mortal danger response for you. When is the last time you felt that way and what was going on? Actually, what was happening? Did somebody call you? Did somebody not call you when they were supposed to? Is there an outstanding invoice that you've sent multiple times that hasn't been paid? Looking back on that instance, how did you come out of it? Was there something that someone else said to you that made you feel better? You can try repeating that in a more general sense for future issues. Like if you were anxious because somebody wasn't responding to an email right away, but they came back later and said they were just busy with a personal issue, in the future, if they're not responding via email, you could practice thinking, they've probably got something personal to deal with that has nothing to do with me and my email. You've created space between your imagination coming up with threats and danger because someone may be upset with you. And you've also depersonalized it. Even if there is an issue, that's their problem. The goal is to switch from the lizard reptilian brain that thinks it's in danger to your actual human brain that's evolved and that can do critical thinking. You can recognize that you're actually safe in that moment. I hope that my cat is going to come out from under the house today and that I can bring him inside where he is in an environment that he's familiar with. I want him to feel safe because I know right now that he's very scared, but he's not really in danger. He's sheltered. He might be a little hungry and dirty, but he's not in mortal danger. He absolutely thinks that he is, and that's created very real scarcity and sent him into survival mode. I have a lot of compassion for him right now. He's part of my family, and I can't wait for him to be removed from that situation where he's in that flight mode. I want to bring him inside and make him see that he's safe and that he's cared for. He's loved, he has food, he has shelter, he's got his brothers and sisters, and he's safe. So the next time something seems like an existential crisis, how can you create that space and environment for yourself where you know that you're not in mortal danger? That's the place that we want to get to. That's where the creativity flows and we create good things in our business. That's where we show up and do our work to the best of our ability. If you're in flight mode with your receipts, in your business, in your paperwork, then I have a free gift for you. It's called Chaos to Calm, and it is a free downloadable guide on how to conquer your receipts once and for all. It's my step-by-step process to work you through your current receipts and how to create a system that works for you, your lifestyle, your business, and most importantly, your brain. Head to the link in the podcast description to download Chaos to Calm today. I'll talk to you soon. If you are enjoying what you're learning on this podcast, please consider supporting me through a subscription on Anchor.fm. Any donation amount is welcome, or you can simply share it with someone you know. You can also follow me on Instagram at alleaseaccounting and sign up for my email list at alleaseaccounting.com/subscribe. Thanks for listening.